So excited to have Roso join us on the stage and talk about RnDAO and swarms.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. So good to see that we have this kind of a community in Greece. I didn't know that we existed. So I'm grateful to be here, and thank you for the invitation. So we all want, some of us, most of us want to be financially free, including myself. We have this dream of becoming rich, but when we say we want to become rich, what is it that we really want? Is it money? Is it money to buy a yacht or a huge house? For me, at least, I know that money would provide freedom to me, freedom to do whatever I want to do, to be wherever I want to be in the world, to work on whatever it is I want to work. And I want to share with you an alternative way to get to that freedom, to that autonomy, which doesn't have to do with money, but can be achieved through applying a different kind of organizational structure, what we call swarms, and what could be the evolution of DAOs, and that's why DAOs 2.0. Yeah. So let me quickly start with a journey, with a story. So when I was young, ever since I remember myself, I was playing music. Ever since I was 4 years old, I was playing the piano. And then I started playing the drums. And I had this dream of becoming the best drummer in the world. And I remember I was playing drums for hours and hours and hours. I couldn't get bored. I couldn't get tired. I was practicing doing slow motion exercises. Slow motion, just figuring out the details of every movement. And I'm sure many of you had a hobby as well that you could practice for hours and you could dance in front of a mirror or something like that. So in 2016, when I got my university degree in economics, nothing to do with music, I decided that I don't want to go to a traditional corporation and work in these hierarchical structures. Instead, I was trying to find the same freedom and autonomy I felt when I was playing the drums, when I was doing my hobby. So, of course, money in my mind could provide me this freedom. So 2020, late 2020, bull market vibes, I find out about crypto. And the crypto's promise at the time, in a growing bull market, was that you can just invest a few $100 and you can become a millionaire, which in my mind meant that I'm gonna be free and autonomous to do whatever the hell I want. So I put my few $100 in, I double it, I put some more, I borrow some money from my father, I put it all in, and then the bear market comes, I lose everything. But I don't regret that moment, that series of moments, because I discovered DAOs. And DAOs was a different, showed me a different way that I can achieve this freedom. At least that was the promise. You can work from wherever you want with people that are aligned with you in terms of values and mindset. And this seemed like something I wanted to do. So all those years, after I got my university degree, I was working all kinds of jobs. I was a waiter, I was a salesman, I was an eggs distributor. You know, you have a car, you fill it with eggs, and you go and distribute it to different shops, supermarkets, etc. So I had enough money to survive the month, and I had enough free time to spend studying crypto and DAOs and joining DAOs and whatever. So January 1st this year, I decided to quit my job, to not do anything for 6 months other than joining DAOs and trying to find my place within the crypto ecosystem, within DAOs, within the promised land. So these were the darkest, and that's why I have this picture on the background. So these were the darkest 6 months in my life, because as all of you might have felt, nobody understands what it is we're doing here. My mother, my parents didn't know what I was doing. My girlfriend didn't know what I was doing. And frankly, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I could make it and find a way to do it in a sustainable way, to be in crypto or in a DAO or something like that. So I had 6 months of runway with the money I had saved up. And in the 5th month, I see that there's no light at the end of the tunnel, so I say I will build my own project. So I start doing research, I start thinking about the marketing, I start thinking about the business model, the token incentives, and how I'm gonna fundraise, what is the value proposition, etc. And then I get approached by Daniel Ospina. I meet with Daniel Ospina through a common friend anyway. Daniel Ospina is the person that Dean talked about in the introduction, who is a leader within RnDAO. And Daniel told me, why don't you join RnDAO and build your project within RnDAO? So I told him, why? How can I do that within RnDAO? And he said that RnDAO is this ecosystem where startups join and they can build whatever they want to build, and we help them. So remember that the whole reason I quit my job was that I was after autonomy and freedom, and becoming part of this ecosystem and working with others in my project was not the ideal thing I wanted. So I rejected that offer. Now I know why this was a bad move. You'll understand why that is now in a few seconds, minutes, whatever. So, in the last day of the last week of those 6 months, the proposal I made to RnDAO to become a paid contributor within RnDAO had passed. And so I was a paid contributor now. It was in the last day that they accepted my proposal, and I became a paid contributor. So, yeah, I achieved my goal. I was I was a paid contributor now, and I could do it in a sustainable way. I could be there online, remotely. But the reason it felt like success to me, it was not because now I have this job and I can work from wherever I want in the world, whenever I want to, for however long I want to. But the real reason is because I could become whoever I wanted to become within that ecosystem of RnDAO. To understand how RnDAO provided me with this opportunity and how RnDAO makes this possible, I have to talk to you about swarms. You know, birds are the symbols of freedom. A bird can fly, it's free to go wherever they want. And yet, some birds choose to fly together. Yes, there are eagles that are strong and fly alone. But there are also other birds that are smaller and weaker and vulnerable. And they choose, although they have this opportunity to do whatever they want and be free from others, they choose to go in groups. And why do they do that? That's because they can accomplish tasks together that they cannot accomplish alone. We do the same thing. We gather together. We create organizations and companies and all those societal structures, even countries, cities. But how does it make us feel? How do these organizations like these make people feel? You know, being in a hierarchical organization, I've never been there. As I said, I didn't want to do that. I hated the idea of being a cog in a huge machine that benefits only the top of the hierarchy. And you know, with the system we have right now, they deserve it, you know, because they took some risks to create this thing. And they may have failed many times to finally be able to create this huge organization and be able to make all that money. But how do everyone else within this structure feel? Then we have platforms like YouTube or like Airbnb or Uber that allow you to have your own business and be slightly more autonomous and free within the platform. But the same way, when you have your money in the bank, the money don't belong to you, but they belong to the bank. The same way, when you have your business in a platform, the business does not belong to you. You have to follow whatever the platform owners tell you to follow. You have to do whatever they tell you to do, follow their rules. You don't have governance power. You belong to them, essentially. Whenever they want, they can just kick you out. So I'm here to tell you that there's probably a better way that we are exploring, and it's DAOs. And you know, even DAOs 1.0, the current form of DAOs, in many cases are traditional corporations on chain. So the structure has not changed. What we can enable with blockchain and with the mindset change is we can have a structure of many autonomous teams that are building different things but they are aligned in terms of values and vision. And they use tools to collaborate, both directly and indirectly. These tools, systems, methodologies, processes, is what we call swarm technology. This organizational structure I described is what we call these swarms in organizational design. And as I say here, it's for direct and indirect collaboration. So yeah, there are many teams that are building different things in an ecosystem, but they have the same vision, right? So these teams can choose to collaborate directly, and the tools for direct collaboration, I'm sure you all know, it's like Zoom for example, or Messenger, whatever app, you know, direct collaboration. I'm collaborating with you, and we create something. But also, there could be an indirect collaboration. Indirect collaboration, these are more towards the swarm tool thing. And imagine a database, for example. So we have this ecosystem of autonomous teams, and we are building towards the same vision. This means that when I, as a team, make progress into a certain area, you that have another team can benefit from that progress. And in this way, we can indirectly collaborate and move faster. So an example of that could be a database, for example. A database. If I meet an investor and I add the investor to the database, whenever you that are building the same thing want to meet aligned investors, instead of just going and cold DMing and doing cold outreach to find investors, you can look into the database and you can find the work I've already done and found investors. And instead of cold DMing them, you cold DM me. And since we are in the same swarm, this implies that we have the same values and the same vision, the grand vision. But we're building different things to get to that vision. So, RnDAO, the DAO that I'm in, is building swarm technology. We are a team of 10 people, but we are not building it ourselves. What we are doing instead is we are building a swarm that's building swarm technology. So we are applying the design that I talked about, the swarm. So what we are doing is we are building this ecosystem of autonomous startups that are building collaboration tech. It's polycentric. So, you might be a member of an ecosystem. You might be the leader of a DAO. You might be an aspiring entrepreneur. How can you build a swarm? How can you apply this philosophy to improve your life and the life of your members of this ecosystem, of your DAO, or of whatever it is you're building? So if you're an ecosystem, what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is many teams, many projects, many cities that are aligned in some way. There is the ReFi ecosystem, regenerative finance. There's the DeFi. DAOs are an ecosystem. Greece is an ecosystem. So you know all those teams within your ecosystem that are aligned in some way. So you can use swarm technology to indirectly collaborate and achieve those network effects that, like a snowball, can exponentially grow. What can you do if you are building a DAO or if you're a member of a DAO? As a DAO, you have a vision, you have your values. So write those down. And instead of hiring people or thinking in that way, instead invite people to build their own idea within your DAO. To create this ecosystem instead of a company, we create ecosystems, autonomous teams building different things towards the same vision. And if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, instead of joining a DAO or whatever it is you're joining, you want to join or you want to do, don't do it alone. You have a vision as an entrepreneur. You want to build something. There are other people that want to build similar things towards the same vision. So go partner with them. Use Swarm technology. And if you want to build Swarm technology, this is exactly what we do in RnDAO. You know, this is too big of a vision for only one of us. Only together can we change the world. Thank you.